Today's topic of class is circulatory shock. This topic is related with the blood circulation problems to the tissue. If the tissues are not getting required amount of blood supply, then the condition it develops, and that is called the circulatory shock. That means if the tissues not getting the sufficient supply of oxygen and nutrients, then it leads into the damage to the tissue or the deterioration of the tissue, and the condition it develops, that is called the circulatory shock. So we'll go there. Before to that, see the competency or the learning objectives of this topic. So at the end of this class, you should be able to describe the pathophysiology of circulatory shock. So what problems it comes when or how the tissue gets suffer, and what complications it develops when there is a less blood supply to the tissue, that we have to study. So it is a pathophysiological topic. It goes to the clinical side. The question is popular, always asked, or we can say that the learning objectives, or in university the question is asked. It's a long question. What is a circulatory shock? Describe various stages of hemorrhagic shock. Okay, there are different types of the shocks. We'll go there. One of the important is hemorrhagic shock. So in this class, in this question, you have to first explain what is circulatory shock and the various stages of hemorrhagic shock. Okay, hemorrhage means it's a loss of blood, or it is also called the hypovolumic shock. If the blood volume is decreased in the body, that is called the hypovolumia. So hypovolumic or hemorrhagic shock. Okay. Also, third objective is discuss the principle of treatment of shock. So if the circulatory shock is developed, then what are the possible treatments to recover the person from this type of the condition? It's called the comes under the treatment of the shock. Okay. See, this topic is clinically very important, and we are going to discuss the circulatory shock, this topic under these points. So when you are writing the long question, these all points should be considered while writing the answer of long question. Okay, so take one by one. First, the definition of the shock. So we'll go there. Second point is physiological causes of circulatory shock, then stages of shock. So any type of the shock can proceed through the three types of the stages. The stages are non-progressive shock, progressive shock, and an irreversible shock. Non-progressive shock means here, once this type of the circulatory shock it starts, then it can be recovered. Our body's compensatory mechanism can come, can recover the body from this type of the shock, that is called the non-progressive, means there is no progress of the shock. Second is a progressive shock. So what is a progressive shock? Here, once it starts and it goes on, and if the medical help is not given, then it can progress to the such an extent that the medical help is required. So medical treatment is, the medical admission is required, and if we have not provided the external help, then it can cause the death of the person, means it can be progressed up to the uh, into the lethal condition, or it can cause the death of the person. Okay, we'll discuss again. The third type is an irreversible shock. Is a once the person is entered in the third stage, then there is no recovery from this type of the shock. No recovery means any type of external help, any type of treatment, any type of the medical admission cannot help the person to recover, and it is very dangerous or lethal, and the death of the person is sure in this condition. That is called the irreversible shock. Okay. Then we'll see we have to study the causes of the circulatory shock, or we can say that types of the circulatory shock. Causes means when our what are the uh, conditions which develop the shock. See the types of the shocks. So cardiogenic shock, hemorrhagic shock. Hemorrhagic is also called the hypovolemic shock. Third type is neurogenic shock, anaphylactic shock, septic shock. Cardiogenic shock means here there is a problem in heart itself. So heart itself means heart cannot pump the sufficient blood. Cardiac output is not maintained, and the condition develops is called the cardiogenic shock. Means heart itself is responsible for this type of the shock. Okay. Then second, hemorrhagic. Hemorrhage means loss of the blood. Loss of the blood due to the any reason. If the blood volume is decreased in the body, then the condition it develops, and that is called the hemorrhagic shock. It is also called the hypovolemic shock. Hypovolemic means decreased blood volume. So students, just remember, keep in mind, if the in the question if they use the hypovolemic word, or either they can use hemorrhagic word, so don't confuse, the meaning is same. Okay. Then here this hypovolemic shock is caused due to little too little blood volume. Okay. Then neurogenic shock. So what is neurogenic shock? Here it is caused by damage to the nervous system. Okay. So again condition develops that tissue is not getting sufficient nutrition and oxygen when there is a problem in nervous system. Okay. Then a fourth type of the shock is anaphylactic shock. Anaphylactic means it is caused due to allergic condition. Allergic condition it develops in the body, and that type of the shock is called the any type of the allergy that leads into the short type of the condition, that is called the anaphylactic shock. Then septic shock. So what is a septic shock? Septic shock, it is due to the infection. So infection in the body is particularly the bacterial infection which leads into the condition that if you see the all types of the shocks which leads into the less blood supply, and tissue get the less blood supply, and they suffer due to the less supply of nutrients and oxygen to the tissue, and it causes the damage to the tissue, and the condition is called this condition is called the circulatory shock. Then last point we have to study is the treatment. So what is a treatment? Particularly when there is a hemorrhagic shock, or the neurogenic shock, or anaphylactic shock, or the septic shock. So the course of the treatment is slightly different. So we'll go there. First, we'll continue with the definition. Okay. See the in introduction. See the what is circulatory shock. Here, circulatory shock. So definition is I told. It's a circulatory shock means it is generalized inadequacy of blood flow throughout the body to the extent that tissue get damaged due to the low delivery of oxygen and nutrients. So meaning is it is generalized means it is throughout the body, and here the shock develops. If the shock is developed, then the body gets suffered due to the less blood supply. Tissue gets suffered due to the less blood supply. That means there is a low delivery of oxygen and nutrients. One thing. Second thing, it is difficult to remove the metabolic end products also, and this there is due to the accumulation of metabolic end products at tissue level, and first and second, due to the less supply of oxygen and nutrients, it causes the damage to the tissue. okay, and that condition is called the circulatory shock. Okay, uh, it is also called cardiovascular shock, another word, and this type of the shock is life threatening medical condition, and it is due to the low blood perfusion to the tissue, resulting in cellular injury and the inadequate tissue perfusion. So tissue is not getting sufficient blood supply. Okay, in this circulatory shock, even the parts of cardiovascular system itself also gets suffer. Okay, so other tissue or other vital organs of the body get suffer, but the blood supplying system, cardiovascular system, it supplies the blood and to remove the metabolic end product. So cardiovascular system itself also get suffer, and here like due to the less blood supply, heart musculature, there is less blood supply to the myocardium, then wall of the blood vessel, then vasomotor system, and other circulatory parts being suffered or being deteriorate, means there is a damage to the cardiovascular itself. You know the parts of CVS, heart, blood vessels, vasomotor centers, and they get suffer. Okay, like this, that's why the if the cardiovascular itself gets suffer, then it can leads into the, or it can shock condition can enter into the progressively progressive stage, and we can say that there is a shock becomes progressively worse. Okay, उसमें पॉजिटिव फीडबैक हो जाता है, प्रॉब्लम बढ़ता जाता है, और इट इंक्रीजेस if the proper treatment is not given within time. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. See, physiological causes of the shock. Okay, so why the shock it occurs? There are two physiological causes. We can say that circulatory shock caused due to the decreased cardiac output. So whatever the condition, whatever the cause, when the cardiac output it decreases, then there is decrease in blood pressure, there is decrease in perfusion to the vessel, blood supply to the blood vessel, sorry, blood supply to the tissue, it decreases when there is a decrease in cardiac output. So cardiac output it decreases by two types of the factors. What factors decreases cardiac output? Because decrease in cardiac output it leads into the circulatory shock. So two factors are there which decreases cardiac output, and the first factor is cardiac abnormalities. Okay, it is also called the cardiogenic shock. Okay, so I just told that cardiogenic shock, it is due to the problem in heart itself. Heart is not able to pump the blood, that is called the, so shock developed due to the problem in the heart is called the cardiogenic shock. So these are the cardiac abnormalities. For example, one first reason is myocardial infarction. You know myocardial infarction. What is myocardial infarction? So some part of the myocardium gets suffer due to the less blood supply, and this myocardial infarction it occurs due to the coronary occlusion disease. So coronary artery disease, if there is a blockage in coronary artery, and the blockage that's called the atherosclerotic plugs, and that block the blood supply to the some part of the heart, and that part is then converted into the infected area, that is called the myocardial infarction. If the myocardial infarction is more, then heart cannot pump the sufficient blood. That means there is decrease in cardiac output, and decrease in cardiac output means there is less blood supply to the tissue. Okay, this is a one cause of cardiogenic shock. Second, we can say that the toxic state of the heart. The heart is okay, normal, but maybe due to the infection to the heart or entry of the toxic substances in the heart, so due to this toxic state to the myocardium, it causes the damage to the cardiac muscle, and the cardiac muscle it cannot pump sufficient blood, heart cannot pump sufficient blood, and that is leads into the decrease in cardiac output. So in addition to that, the when there is a problem in the heart like severe heart wall dysfunction, so valvular diseases, okay, myocardial stenosis here is there, then there is a regurgitation is there, so sorry, the mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, or aortic stenosis, aortic regurgitation. These are the types of valvular diseases. If these valvular diseases are severe, okay, and for example, in regurgitation means there is a leakage of the blood, backflow of the blood. And if there is a backflow of the blood, suppose if there is a aortic regurgitation, then heart pumps the blood but it comes back again through the aortic wall, and that leads into the less cardiac output, okay. Like this valvular diseases can also leads into the decrease in cardiac output, okay. Then another cause is heart arrhythmias. You know, the arrhythmias means irregular heart beating. It may be the very high beating or less beating. And if, for example, ventricular fibrillation or the flutter, when aortic atrial flutter, atrial fibrillation, then very high tachycardia. So that time also increase or decrease heart rate, very severe increase or decrease, that also leads into the reduce in the cardiac output, and that causes the less cardiac output, that is leads into the cardiogenic shock. So ultimately, in the conclusion, we can say that heart is not able to pump the sufficient blood into the circulation due to the decrease in cardiac output. Here, in this first point, we discuss cardiac output is decreased due to the problem in the heart. Second, heart is normal, but cardiac output is decreased due to the decrease in venous return. If the blood accumulation in the heart is not sufficient, then also there is decrease in cardiac output, which leads into the circulatory shock. Suppose venous return is decreased. What is venous return? It is a return of the blood to the heart per minute from the venous side, venous system. And venous return is decreased due to the venous return decrease के क्या क्या reasons है? One of the reason is decreased blood volume. If there is a decrease in blood volume, it may be there are many different causes. For example, loss of the blood, or loss of extracellular fluid, loss of plasma, the septic shock, then anaphylactic shock, okay, hemorrhagic shock. So whatever it is, there is a decrease in blood volume, and due to the loss of fluid or decrease in blood volume, it leads into the decrease in venous return, okay. Also, the venous return is decreased due to the decreased vascular tone. Vascular tone, uh, there is one tone in the vessels are not completely relaxed or not completely constricted, but one partial constriction is there, and that is due to the sympathetic tone on the vessel. If this tone, loss of the tone is there, that means venous blood reservoir it increases, okay, means due to the vasodilatation. ओके, वैस्कुलर टोन कम होता है, मतलब क्या होता है, वहाँ वैजोडाइलेटेशन होता है, और द 5 liters नॉर्मल ब्लड, normal amount of the blood in the body is not sufficient to fill the circulatory system, okay, and that affects on decrease in venous return. And if the venous return is decreased, it leads into the decrease in cardiac output, and ultimately it develops the circulatory shock, okay. One more reason is obstruction to the blood flow. If the blood flow get obstructed, particularly in venous side, then also it leads into the decrease in venous return, okay. So like this, these are the main two causes which leads into the circulatory shock, okay. Here, up to this point, we discuss circulatory shock due to the decrease in cardiac output. Okay, now we'll continue that circulatory shock without decrease in cardiac output. Now the cardiac output is normal. Normal 5 liters, 5 to 6 liter blood, it is pumped into the circulation. Then also sometimes the shock like condition it develops. And here what are the causes? Here for example, excessive metabolism. Okay, so normal cardiac output is not sufficient if there is a metabolic disorder. You just imagine the metabolic rate is increased, then excessive increase in metabolism, uh, there are the many causes, that is a subject of, it comes under the metabolic disorders. And if metabolism is excessive, then normal pumping of the blood is not sufficient to fulfill the requirement of tissue. Okay, and here we can say that the cardiac output is inadequate, and then it also leads into the circulatory shock. That means circulatory system is not able to fulfill the requirement of tissue. Okay, one more reason is abnormal tissue perfusion. Means abnormal means some part of the body is taking more blood than the other part gets suffered. That is called the abnormal perfusion. Okay, so some tissue are getting more blood, and that's why other tissue gets suffered. And which tissue gets suffered, there the circulatory shock like condition it develops. Okay, so this type is, here the cardiac output is normal, but there is problem in the perfusion and excessive metabolism. Okay, now coming to the conclusion, all type of circulatory shock, whatever the reason, it it causes, it develops और it leads into, कौन सा भी टाइप रहा शॉक का, तो वो क्या करता है फाइनली, it what is the effect on the tissue. So here first effect is inadequate delivery of the nutrients. Okay, so nutrients delivery or supply to the tissue is not normal, not according to the need of tissue. Okay, then inadequate removal of cellular waste products. Okay, so whatever the cellular waste products, so metabolic end products released, these are not removed. Okay, and if there is a less nutrient supply and accumulation of metabolic end products, it leads into the tissue deterioration, and it is a end result, means damage of the tissue is a end result, and it develops the condition that is called the circulatory shock. Okay, stages of shock. Any type of the shock what we discuss, that is a neurogenic shock, anaphylactic shock, septic shock, hemorrhagic shock, cardiac shock. So if you take any type of the shock, it can pass through the three stages, and the three stages are, first is a non-progressive stage, it is also called the compensated stage. Second stage, after this non-progressive stage, it can enter into the progressive stage, and after this progressive stage it can enter up to the third stage, that is an irreversible stage. Okay, non-progressive stage, here there is no progress of the circulatory shock it can progress to up to the third stage if the uh, proper treatment is not given, or if the problem is more. Okay, we'll discuss later on, uh, but see something about non-progressive stage or compensated mechanism. Here in this stage there is a full recovery by normal compensatory mechanism without any help from outside therapy. Here body's its own mechanism is sufficient to cover the body from this type of the shock from this stage. Okay, I will give one example. For example, in hemorrhagic shock, and the study it is did on the dog experiment में study किया. तो if the loss of the blood, hemorrhagic means loss, if the loss of the blood is 10%, then the mechanism of the bodies, that is a baroreceptor mechanism is there, okay, other mechanism is there, and they easily recover. There is no that much effect on the body, and that is called the non-progressive stage. Okay, but just imagine that when there is a loss of the blood about 20%, then the shock condition it enters into the second stage, that is called the progressive stage, and in which shock becomes steadily worse until the death. So in progressive stage, if the external health, that is a medical health, that is a treatment, is if it is not given, then it progress, it can enter into the positive feedback mechanism. And if I told that if the medical help is not given, then in this condition it steadily worse and the death is sure. Okay, now third stage in this experiment, for example, the loss of the blood is 30% or more than 30%. Okay, and in this condition the person or the that condition it enters into the third stage, and in which shock has progressed to such extent that no use of any known therapy to save the life of the person. So meaning is, if the shock is entered in the third stage, then there is no use of any medical help, any admission, any IV, means if you are given the intravenous uh, infusion, saline दिया या treatment दिया या कुछ drugs दिया, तो उसका कोई फायदा नहीं होता. There is a person's death of the persons is sure, means loss of the person is, it is very lethal condition. Okay, so we'll go there, we'll take one example and we'll discuss these stages one by one. Okay, students, now see the types of circulatory shock one by one. First we'll discuss hemorrhagic shock, and it is also called the hypovolumic shock. Now initially I told that questions is very popular in university exam, that is describe hemorrhagic shock in detail, or what is hemorrhagic shock and describe the stages of hemorrhagic shock. So this question can be asked for the 10 marks. So we'll see first what is hemorrhagic shock. Hemorrhagic shock means it is due to the decreased blood volume. Hemorrhage is a common cause of hypovolumic shock. So hypovolumic shock due to the decreased blood volume. So blood volume in the body is not sufficient, or there is a loss of the blood, and here the main cause is hemorrhage, means loss of the blood. You know, for example, in accident or any cause when there is a loss of the blood. Here this hemorrhage, loss of the blood, it decreases the mean systolic filling pressure. Okay, that means if the mean systolic filling pressure is decreased, how it affects on various parameters. Okay, and here cardiovascular parameters, that due to the loss of the blood there is a decrease in venous return. If the venous return is decreased, that means there is a decrease in cardiac output. If the cardiac output is decreased, that means there is decrease in blood pressure. And if all these parameters decrease, then the blood supply to the tissue is not sufficient. Okay, and the cardiovascular system cannot fulfill the requirement of tissue or all vital organs. Their requirement for the nutrients and oxygen cannot be fulfilled. That is a one thing. And second thing, the metabolic end products cannot be removed, and that causes the damage to the tissue is called the shock. Okay, now this hemorrhagic shock or any type of the shock can pass through the three stages we just discussed. When you are writing the answer of long question, so you have to elaborate these three stages. So three stages: the non-progressive stage, progressive stage, and irreversible stage. So hypovolemic shock, first stage is non-progressive stage. Okay, and here there is a compensatory shock. It is also called the compensatory shock or non-progressive shock. Suppose if the short question is there, short note is there, that is describe the compensatory shock or non-progressive shock. So you have to describe this stage, that is a first stage. It is a negative feedback mechanism, means body's compensatory mechanism. Once there is a loss of blood or decrease in blood pressure or a decrease in cardiac output, body's mechanism can bring these parameters to the normal by various reflex mechanisms are there. Okay, we'll go for these reflex mechanisms one by one. See the mechanism here. uh, the compensation, it occurs by the sympathetic reflex. And how the sympathetic reflex it works: so in case there is a loss of the blood, it stimulate the reflexes, and this reflex once gets stimulated, it causes arteriole constriction. For example, you know the arterioles is a main site of resistance to the blood vessel, and it is highly, arterioles are highly supplied by the sympathetic nodes. And when there is decrease in blood volume, it stimulate or excite the sympathetic reflex. That means there is a decrease in, sorry, there is increase in sympathetic tone, and which causes the vasoconstriction plus this arteriole constriction. And arteriole constriction, it increases the peripheral resistance. And you know the peripheral resistance बढ़ गया तो blood pressure increase होता है. Okay, that means blood, it tries to bring the blood pressure to the normal. And second mechanism, it also causes the veins and venous reservoir to constrict. Means when veins or the venous side vessels get constricted, and that increases the venous return to the heart. Okay, so if the venous reservoir get constricted, there is more displacement of the blood towards the heart side, and there is increase in venous return, and it tries to bring the cardiac output to the normal. Okay, third mechanism, that reflex, sympathetic system reflexly stimulate heart and increase in heart activity. So if there is increase in heart activity, means there is increase in heart rate and the force of contraction. And you know heart rate and the force of contraction is a, the cardiac output is a product of increased heart rate and force of contraction. So heart rate can be increased up to the, in the very severe condition, can be increased up to the 170 to 200 beats per minute. Okay, and in this way it causes the pumping of the blood and try to bring the cardiac output to the normal. Okay, see, this occurs the reflexly by sympathetic reflex. And here these are the factors which stimulate the sympathetic system. That factors cause the person to recover. So what are these mechanisms? First, the baroreceptor reflex. We discussed baroreceptor reflex. It increases the sympathetic tone. Okay, so it elicits the very powerful sympathetic stimulation to the circulation, and these above mechanisms can be elevated. Okay, then we also discuss the CS ischemic response. So if the blood pressure, mean blood pressure, if it is decreased below the 60 or up to the 50, then it elicits the powerful sympathetic stimulation, and the sympathetic stimulation causes increase in the blood pressure, stimulation to the heart, or stimulation to the venous side. Okay, third mechanism, Third factor that causes the compensation is reverse stress relaxation of circulatory system. It causes the blood vessel to constrict down around the blood volume. You know, if the blood volume is increased, there is a vasodilatation. If the blood volume is decreased, there is a vasoconstriction. That is called the reverse stress relaxation of the reverse stretch. Means when the blood volume is decreased, then the wall of the blood vessel constrict. Okay, and that means it tries to bring the blood pressure to the normal. Okay, next mechanism, formation of vasopressin. Okay, so any decrease in cardiac output or blood loss, it increase the retention of, see, there is more formation of ADH, and that ADH then acts on the kidney. It acts on the kidney and it causes the more retention of water and salt by the kidney, and constrict the peripheral arteries and vein. So in this way, ADH has the two effects. So it returns the water and salt that helps to bring the blood volume to the normal, and it also acts on the blood vessel that causes the constriction, that all brings the blood pressure to the normal. Okay, then formation of angiotensin. You know, also we discussed the renin-angiotensin mechanism. If the blood volume is decreased, that means blood supply to the kidney decreases and it activates the renin-angiotensin system. Ultimately, there is a formation of angiotensin 2, and this angiotensin 2 is powerful vasoconstrictor substance which constricts the peripheral arteries and also decrease the output of water and salt by the kidney. So angiotensin 2 has two effects. It constricts the vessel, and second effect on the nephron, that is a distal tubule, where it decreases the loss of water and salt. In this way, it tries to bring the blood volume to the normal. Okay. Next compensatory mechanism that returns blood volume back towards the normal is there is increase in absorption of water from the intestinal tract, from the interstitium into the capillary, increase the retention of the water and salt by the kidney, and increase in thirst and appetite of the salt. So these mechanisms help to bring the blood volume to the normal. So there is more absorption of the water from the kidney. Also the fluid is taken from the interstitium. Interstitium means the spaces between the cells. It is taken to the capillary, means there is more reabsorption. Then also the kidney plays the role for more retention of the water and salt. In addition to this, it also stimulates the thirst and appetite center. So person will have the more water, and it helps to bring the blood volume to the normal. Okay, so all above factors help to bring the blood pressure and cardiac output to the normal, and in this way the blood supply to the tissue, it tries to maintain the blood supply to the tissue according to the need of the tissues. Okay, students, we discuss non-progressive shock. This is one figure that initially, we discuss. I told that there is one experiment carried out on dog, and when there is a blood is removed from the dog, here how it passes, how this hemorrhage, it passes through the three stages. So this graph, it shows that effect of blood loss on the cardiac output and the blood pressure. Okay, so here this figure is called interrelationship between the bleeding volume to the cardiac output and arterial pressure. Okay, so here the bleeding is there, remove the blood uh, from dog, and how it affects on cardiac output and blood pressure, arterial blood pressure. So this is arterial blood pressure, it's a cardiac output. Here uh, blood removed over a period of half an hour, आधा घंटा तक blood निकाला. First in the experiment, the 10% blood is removed. There is a loss of 10% blood. If the blood pressure, this is a percent, the loss of the blood. If the loss of the blood is 10%, then there is no effect on cardiac output and blood pressure. Okay, so we discuss that what is a compensatory mechanism. So body's compensatory mechanism, it maintains the cardiac out and blood pressure if the blood loss is up to the 10%. Okay, now if the blood loss is increased, so it may be in accidental loss or in the experiment. If the blood loss is increased up to the 20%, then that is called the progressive shock. And here the medical help is required. Okay, so to recover from the progressive shock, in next slide we have to discuss the progressive shock. We'll go there. So for recovery from the progressive shock, the external help is required. So what is external help? We should admit the patient in the hospital and immediately we should give the IV to the patient. That means infuse the extracellular fluid, saline to the body, and also some drugs are given which causes the vasoconstriction or stimulate the heart or increases heart rate. So like this medical treatment is required if the blood loss it is up to the 20%, and we can save the life of person by the external help. But in third stage, that is when the blood loss is more than 30%. So we can say that if the blood loss is 30 to 35%, then both the cardiac output and the blood pressure it falls to the zero. So here slowly if the loss of the blood is more than 30%, then the blood pressure and cardiac output it falls to the zero. Even there is no use of external help. Students try to understand if the shock is progressed in the third stage, that is a non-reversible stage. Okay, and that when that occurs when the blood loss is more than 30%, that time definitely the cardiac output and blood pressure it falls to the zero, it comes to the zero, and the death of the person is sure. Okay, so this is a third stage of cardiac shock. Okay, uh, from this graph you can, I think you followed what are the various stages. We'll continue to the next slide. Now it's a progressive shock. Students, here the progressive shock, I told that once the loss of blood is up to the certain point, that is, for example, in the dog's experiment or in human being also, if the loss of blood is or the bleeding is more than 20% of the blood in the body, then it enters into the progressive shock. And what is a progressive shock? Here there is a vicious circle. Okay, so vicious circle it occurs. Okay. Okay, students, here we'll stop here, and in the second half of the class we'll continue from this point, that is a progressive shock. Here already 45 minutes is there of the lecture, and from the progressive shock we'll continue from the next class, second half of the circulatory shock. Okay, uh, bye students, we'll stop here.